Remember 3D printing? A few years back, it was sort of all the rage. Everyone was going to have a 3D printer. They were going to print all of their stuff instead of buying it. It was going to revolutionize the medical field. We were going to 3D print our houses. People were freaked out that you could print house keys and guns. It was like a big deal. And so in 2019, we hardly hear about 3D printing at all anymore. I wanted to see if it was still a thing, so we went and bought a 3D printer, super cheap, to see what all the buzz was about. Check it out. Hi, I'm Michael Warf. I make YouTube videos about technology and lifestyle stuff, and today I want to talk to you about 3D printing. So 3D printing was a thing a few years back, and it sort of died down. We don't hear much about it anymore. But the great thing about things that aren't fads or in the media, it means that the technology kind of goes up and the price kind of goes down. My coworkers and I pooled our lunch money together, and we bought a Chinese 3D printer off of Amazon called a Creality Ender 3. It's one of those ones that heats up plastic, has a little nozzle called an extruder, has a big spool of plastic that you buy, and your computer gives it instructions on how to print, and it melts that plastic and squeezes it out kind of like toothpaste, all nice and hot. And as it cools, that plastic hardens, and layer by layer, the plastic cools and it makes a 3D piece. If you've got missing backs off your remotes, your Xbox controllers, all of those little plastic things that you never ever can get from the manufacturer again, a 3D printer is a super handy thing because you can download other people's designs from the internet and print them out yourself. So take a look at some of the things that we built. So this is one of the first original pieces I made on the 3D printer. This is just the Worf logo that I have for the channel. It was an Adobe Illustrator file, and I extruded it and I did some fancy things. I think you can see in here, I chamfered the edges and I sort of beveled and rounded out the outsides. But other than that, I didn't do a whole lot to it. I just really gave it some depth. And then I took it from a program called Fusion 360 and I brought it into the printer software, the slicing software for the 3D printer. It's an open source product called Cura. And I took that into Cura and I asked it, hey, now create this into different layers that the printer can understand. And overnight, it printed this sucker out in plastic for me, a plastic called PLA. And now I have a dimensional prop to use in my decor and my channel. It costs maybe $2 to create this, and it's just a whole lot of time. Loved it. I think for a first attempt, it did a great job. This was my second print. It's a case for Sony batteries. The interesting thing about those little Sony batteries, I mean, Sony cameras are awesome, but the batteries are so small that you end up using a ton of them. And throwing this in your bag is way nicer than having a bunch of these loose in your bag. So this little friction fit piece just snaps in there. It's got a little locking tab right there. And it printed in, I'm not sure, I printed it quite nicely. It almost looks like it could be a retail piece. But I have 3 batteries. If you had 4, you could go ahead. The great thing about 3D printing is you could print them to whatever custom dimension you need. I'd much rather have this just hanging out in my bag and be able to know what's with me and what's got power and what doesn't. So what an awesome idea. I don't think this is something that someone makes and that you can buy. This is a portable laptop stand, and so they're clicked together right now. Let's see if I can get them apart. And the idea here is that you throw this in your laptop bag and it's adjustable. It actually prints this entire piece. It prints this whole thing with the hinges and everything already assembled. It's so wild to see it go. This is probably my favorite 3D printing project. That photo is on a pegboard nail. That Google Home is pegboarded into a Google Home piece. The headphone hanger, the cords, the cold shoe adapters. Everything that you see here has been 3D printed specifically for this system, and I love it. What did I find out in this little experiment? Well, I found out that 3D printing is still a thing, and it's a worthwhile thing as long as you manage your expectations. So for 300 bucks, we pooled our money together and got this printer called a Creality Ender 3. totally recommend it as an entry-level beginner sort of 3D printer. The bed size is big enough that you won't be disappointed. It'll print out the things that you see online. Support for the community is really great. The hardware for $300 is really great quality. But aside from it being cheap, the prints take a long time. So if you've never used a 3D printer before and you think that you just hit print and 10 minutes later you get the object that you wanted, no, the cookie cutter that you're gonna see that I created took about 3 to 3.5 hours to print. And that's just to get a basic small cookie cutter. If you have aspirations of something big, you'll have that printer going around the clock using your electricity bill for 40, 50, 60 hours or more just to create one thing. 2019, 3D printing's here. It's just not the magic that maybe we were all promised. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe. See you in the next one.